Hi! I've got some weird things happening here. Let me see if I can close this. Hey, welcome to the inaugural broadcast of Stealthy Aging Strategies. And so that I can remember everything I wanted to say, I want to pull up my notes, my cheat sheet. These broadcasts will have a monthly theme, so they will focus on one of each of what I call the 6 essentials of stealthy aging. They are actually essentials in functional wellness and functional health circles. And they're the basics for creating a healthy, functional, resilient, vibrant life. And then weekly, I will be offering strategies that support each of those essentials. So March is Mind Management Month here at Stealthy Aging. And before you groan and roll your eyes, because you've probably heard a lot about mind management, the reason why coaches teach about mind management is because our mindset makes us or breaks us. And so getting clear on our thoughts, beliefs, perceptions, and attitudes helps set the stage for everything that we want to achieve and everything we don't want to achieve. So, and a lot of that has to do with neuroplasticity, which fancy term for having a brain that is flexible. And more and more of the evidence is clear that although the most important stage in life for neuroplasticity is birth and early childhood, that actually our brains are capable of making changes and different connections, molding, really up until we take our last breath, which I think is extremely exciting and opens the doors for so many possibilities. I am Coach Susan Murray. I'm a certified holistic coach and the founder of Stealthy Aging Holistic Coaching. And I've been asked, what is that? What is stealthy aging? And whether you asked or not, I am here to tell you all about it. So go back with me to 2006. In 2006, our then 14-year-old daughter, she is now a vibrantly healthy 29 years old, but in May of 2006, she was diagnosed with a potentially life-threatening childhood brain cancer called medulloblastoma. And, you know, a pediatric cancer diagnosis basically takes the wind out of a parent's sails. And that certainly happened for us. And then couple that with the fact that I have been fascinated by and practicing to some degree holistic and natural and ancestral health nearly my whole life. And so to find out that the only legal way to treat our child's brain cancer was going to be with extremely toxic and potentially deadly treatments such as brain and spine radiation and very high dose chemotherapy. And it just was completely out of my paradigm, out of our paradigm, to just throw her to the wolves, if you will, and let whatever happens with the oncology treatments, let that unfold without having any kind of integrative support to help her body protect itself from the harsh treatments. And I embarked on deep research and looking through. I basically lived on, when I wasn't at Duke University Medical Center, I was living on PubMed and reviewing all of the literature, the scientific evidence that I could find to support various holistic, integrative things that would help our daughter. And early on in her treatment, I was naive. This is very early on, before the treatments began. And I admitted to one of the doctors on her team, that I was giving her boswellia extract, that's frankincense, and I was giving it to her in little capsules. It was a powder extract. It was basically the resin is ground up into a powder and put in capsules. And I was giving that to her for her pain and discomfort that she was having after the emergency brain surgery. And the response I got from this one doctor, well, he scolded me. He told me under no circumstances am I to give her anything like that, that they don't know about herbs, and that I needed, if she had complained of any pains, headaches, aches, anything, to give her Tylenol. I don't know if she had ever had Tylenol before this whole brain surgery thing came about. We typically did not use over-the-counter medications ourselves or for our children. So that was a real eye-opener for me. But what it told me, the real lesson I learned from that is, I have to sneak around this system here. And that's what we did. That's the first incidence of stealthy health, was sneaking around the oncology team to make sure that our daughter had nutrient-dense foods, carefully selected supplements, that she was getting acupuncture treatments in between sessions, that we were adding a lot of different elements that could support her throughout this treatment. And as it turns out now, not only did during her treatment were we told many times by her team, we don't know what you're doing, but just keep doing it because she's our healthiest patient. Kids are usually very sick on this protocol. We don't know why she's doing so well, but she's doing great. And of course, meanwhile, well, we knew, we knew why, because we were doing these stealthy strategies. And now, 15 years later, maybe earlier than that, but at this point, cancer centers across the country are, if not advocating, they are acknowledging that Boswellia serrata is beneficial for people going through brain cancer treatment, particularly to relieve the edema or swelling in the brain caused by radiation therapy. So there you go. So the next incidence of stealthy, why stealthy aging is my brand name, is I have found, not only for myself, but in working with clients, that in order to transition into habits that can sustain us in the long term, that can sustain our health, well into our 80s, 90s, and beyond, that it takes being sneaky, um, doing things in a sneaky, small, consistent way. Consistency is key, but sneaking these things in throughout the day, even though they may seem imperceptible, they're some of these habits we start off so slowly, and with such small increments, but those add up over time as long as we're consistent. It makes a huge difference. So that's the story of how my entity came to be known as Stealthy Aging. Um, let's talk about mindset and aging. Um, Dr. Carol Dweck is a professor of psychology at Stanford, and she coined two terms: a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Now, fixed mindset, an example is, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. When I reach a certain age, it's all downhill from here. Or let's see, what's another one? Yeah, another ache and pain. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when I'm, 70? So those are examples of a fixed mindset. Whereas a growth mindset might look at aging as the next big adventure. It might be, getting older means I have more freedom in my life, more opportunity to learn and experiment, and to have more enriching experiences and fulfilling relationships. So the science is really clear, and again, more and more seems to come in every day that supports this notion that having a growth mindset, looking at aging as something to embrace and be excited about, and be excited for all of the possibilities, that mindset uh, has a beneficial impact on how we age. And there have been specific studies. One that comes to the top of my head is one having to do with blood pressure, and how, depending on the mindset, that the blood pressure was closer to a healthy range or in a healthy range rather than needing medication range. So and you can get on pubmed.gov, and explore that if you're interested. But definitely the literature is there, the evidence is there that what we think, our beliefs, our attitudes, our perceptions around aging can determine how we end up aging. So this week's little experiment, if you want to take it on, is to simply be aware. Just be aware of your thoughts, perceptions, beliefs around getting older. When you see yourself in your 70s, 80s, 90s, what do you see? What do you imagine your life being? If maybe you see yourself with a walker or in an institution, maybe you see yourself hiking mountains and dancing until midnight. Just whatever it is. And there's no right or wrong with this. There's no good or bad with this. This is just an exercise to tap into our awareness of our personal beliefs and perceptions around aging, and keeping in mind that we can choose, or like I like to say, only you can change your mind, but I can help. because we have a choice. We can choose to remain fixed in those beliefs that getting older sucks and that it's all downhill from here, or we can choose getting fixed, if you will, on the growth mindset that there is so much that we are learning about how we age and how we can slow the aging process and how we can be vibrant and healthy and optimistic and excited about aging, about getting older, adding all those candles to our birthday cake. Um, so the rest of this month, each week, I will be sharing some tips and strategies for how to uh, live into a growth mindset. And I anticipate a lot of fun with this, and I hope you do too. So again, your assignment, should you choose to accept it, is to simply be aware. Be aware of thoughts, feelings, perceptions, attitudes about aging. And if you are on Clubhouse, which is a new social media thingamabob, and uh, you need to have an iPhone or an iPad. I don't have an iPhone, but I have an iPad. And it's also by invitation, which is they're limited invitations. It's still in the beta process right now. My understanding is that they're getting closer and closer to opening it up for anybody, although I don't know if it's going to be for any device or still only Apple devices. But um, uh, Clubhouse is a great opportunity to just chat. Nothing is recorded, so like Vegas, what happens on Clubhouse stays in the ether. It just disappears. There's no record of it. And it's just this tool supports authentic communication and discussion and connection with each other. So it's just a really fun tool to use. So at 11 o'clock, I will be popping into Clubhouse and opening a room on Clubhouse. So if you're on Clubhouse, you can join me there at 11 Eastern. And my handle is at Susan Murray. I got in early because, Susan Murray is a pretty common name, but they gave it to me. So Susan Murray. So I hope to see you over there, and I hope to see you next week, same time, and here on Facebook, 10 a.m. Eastern. Until then, wishing you well.